I'm sorry I forgot the name of the guy who suggested I use a fighting deck. I hope you don't mind I took a few creative liberties using it because I didn't think it was all that viable as it was. Hello guys, this is UniversalGiant and welcome back to Let's Play Pokémon, the trading card game. The game! Last time, we beat the Lightning Club, and today, we'll be moving on to the Grass Club. You'll never guess what kind of deck we'll be using here. One of the favorite types that I have to actually use. But just like Generation 1 and Celadon City, the Grass Club is full of girls. So you can imagine, I'm sure our protagonist is really happy to be here. Sure, why not? I probably have plenty of Oddish. Now, I knew we were missing a Vileplume, but I wasn't sure if this is the only way you could get it, or if you could actually draw it from an expansion or booster pack. I don't remember that. I've never used this Vileplume before, so it's completely unique to me. But I'm sure it has some interesting uses. Now, I forget if you're part of the Grass Club or if you're somewhere else. I think she may be part of the Grass Club. Because there are only two in here. Yeah, there are only two in here. I guess we just happened to go to the two clubs where one of the club members is just sitting outside. But like I mentioned, the deck that we're going to be using, as you've probably guessed by now, is based on fire. And this is the reason why. It is my favorite card from when I was a kid. I don't remember if we still have this card or not. I think we still have two of them. Although I can't for the life of me remember where. So hopefully I'll get the opportunity to explain it. And this Magmar is kind of fun to use, because you can get a lot of damage for not all that much energy, and it's a basic. But to compensate for that, it's only got 50 health. So it always helps when you go first. Now, not all of the grass Pokemon, as we've seen before, will be weak to fire, like for instance Nidoran being poison typically is weak to psychic instead of fire, even though it's a grass type. But hopefully we'll be doing... I just drew all three of the bills in this deck on turn 1. That's... We're getting a lot of cards down. But you can see we require 2 energy to do anything, so there's not much we can do yet. But a lot of the Pokemon in this deck require you to discard an energy to do a decent amount of damage. So a lot of them will have stuff like Flamethrower and the like, which will require you to discard at least 1 energy in order to attack it. And let's get that off, because I'd really rather you not do that. And if she doesn't put down another Pokemon, we should be... Dang it. Well, now we absolutely have to use it. Hopefully she doesn't flip all 3 heads. I believe Defender only protects you against 20 damage. So if we get to show off Flamethrower, we discard 1 energy, but we're able to do 20 more damage. So that gives us just as much damage as we need for the victory. Another Moltres! I didn't get any of these before. You oughta love my luck. But usually when you're using a fire deck, you have a fairly high damage output. All of these Magmars are the same. There's another Magmar in this game, but it's not the one that I prefer to use. And I believe Heather has things that are actually weak to fire. I'm just afraid that this thing is going to get paralyzed before it can actually do anything. So tell you what, let's put an energy on you and switch you to... Because I think Eevee has an attack that also prevents damage done to it. Or prevents you from attacking. So that could get annoying. I don't know which I'd prefer. I guess... because you'll keep damaging me otherwise. At least this one's still a coin flip, but this coin flip doesn't hurt me. The next one will, but this one won't. I'm drawing so many bills. So yeah, I got Growlithe in here, got Rapidash in here, Charmander, Magmar. Lots of fire going on. And generally the fire types in this game are reasonably high damage output. Now, I'm not entirely sure why you evolved into a Jolteon, because you won't be able to attack me now. I guess she's powering up the Venonat. So we've already seen one attack. It also has Leech Life, which we've seen on Bulbasaur, but that one only does 10 damage, and Eevee's Eevee. So I guess... I'm not sure who else I'd want to put that on, honestly. We'll hang on to the energy. Just in case we need it. So there's Ponyta. And I forget whether or not Vaporeon is resistant to fire. I hope it's not. It's not. Okay. So we can do... we can do 50 damage now. This thing will knock us out next turn. But the thing is, it's really weird, because remember, we're in a grass club, and she has electric, water, and fire in her deck. Not something you see every day. The thing is, Quick Attack will do... I guess it has the possibility of knocking out any of us. So I guess I'll throw out something that I least care about. We'll throw out a Charmander. And I think Rapidash would probably be the way to go, because it has 70 health and it doesn't take too much. So I'll tell you what, let's build up the Rapidash. And whether or not she's able to knock out our Charmander doesn't necessarily matter to me. Because there's no way we would have been able to knock out her Vaporeon in a single turn, and there was a chance that if she flipped a single heads there, that we would have been knocked out right then and there. And I always have another Charmander in case I want to get the Charizard going, but I don't think this fight will last long enough for that to happen. Now, if you have a number of different types of energy in your deck, you can use an energy search, which lets you search your deck for any basic energy card that you want. So if you have a number of different kinds of energy going, that can be useful. I think I'll hang on to that energy removal, because I don't think you're going to be doing much. I guess I can hang on to this energy too, or I could switch it. I think Stomp would only do 20 plus. There's no guarantee we'd knock it out. No, I'll just let you knock out the Charmander so I can get in for free. And that was the right choice. Because that does 30 damage instead of 10 if she flips a heads. So let's get Rapidash in here. I believe Agility would be the move to make here. And we'll get energy removal on you, I guess. Now I also have energy retrieval in here because there's a lot of flamethrower going on, and I at least tend to discard a lot of energy when using it. Energy retrieval is helpful to get energy back from the discard pile. I seem to remember this Ditto having an interesting second attack, but I don't remember what it is, because I think it's the Game Boy exclusive one. Remove all damage counters, and for the rest of the game replace it with a random card from your deck. Interesting. I can't remember if I've ever actually seen it used, though, is the thing. So you can build up the Magmar, it does a decent amount of damage. Now, the reason I'm using Agility, not only does it do 30 damage, but if you flip a heads, it either reduces the amount of damage that Rapidash takes, or negates it entirely. I forget. Yeah, prevent all damage from attacks. So that's really, really convenient to have. Because even if you knock out your opponent's Pokemon, the effect is on Rapidash, not the opponent. So whoever she switches in still can't do damage to Rapidash. And since we have enough energy, we can switch out Rapidash, bring in Magmar, and use Flamethrower for 50 damage. So I hope by now, if you haven't seen this game before, you see just how different your experience can be using different decks and different cards. That's the reason why I was so anxious to see what kinds of decks that you guys came up with and have used throughout your own playthroughs. Because it gives me an opportunity not only to try the things that you've suggested, but also to try a bunch of different things and play this game through in ways that I haven't done so myself before. Makes for a more interesting experience, at least I think it does. Now Growlithe we haven't seen much of because it requires 2 energy to attack and just haven't had the opportunity to bring it in, but it's there. It'll probably see some use. I think I only have 2 Growlithe and 1 Arcanine, so we may not see all that much. There was only so much room in this deck. But now I say that, we get a Growlithe and an Arcanine. Fantastic. So let's get Charmander going. Now on the next turn, I could evolve it into a Charmeleon, but this thing requires 3 energy to attack. And I could attack with Ember. Actually, depending on what she has. You know what, that will be exactly what I do. As long as I have another Fire Energy, if she doesn't replace the Pokemon on her bench, then I'll be able to get the win on the next turn. Never mind. But I don't think this thing can do much to us. So let's get that down. Only have 1 Fire Energy, so maybe it's best to hang on to it. Yeah, let's hang on to it. And if she doesn't put a basic down on the bench, I'll play Professor Oak. We should get another Fire Energy. Nah, well, this should still work. Because if she doesn't have anything to put on her bench, then what I can do is I'll play Charmeleon now. I'm almost certain... I guess I'll play these evolution cards while they're there. I don't think I have anything. I'll get rid of Charizard. I'm almost guaranteed to draw into a Fire Energy. It'd be a statistical anomaly if I didn't. And then I can do Flamethrower for 100 damage. And that'll knock out the Vileplume. It's always important to have at least a decent number of trainer cards in your deck that play to the style that you're trying to do with... There's my freaking Venusaur! I freaking knew it! I spent 1 to 2 hours grinding for it last week. And I get it now. Game, you are the biggest tease. But the idea is you put trainer cards into your deck that play to the strategy that you're trying to use. Both the cards that I have here can't attack unless they have a second energy. You know what, let's put Ponyta out there first so we can build up the Growlithe from the bench if we have to. Although, depending on who she put out, that may not be the best idea. Let's see what we get with Bill. She's already got 3 different types of Pokemon on her bench, so this will be a bit interesting. She has Oddish, which has an attack that lets you find another Oddish to put on your bench. She's got Execute. Executor can be really annoying. Who am I kidding? It'll definitely come into play at some point. Arcanine... I'm not sure why I have this thing. Doesn't look like a card I'm all that interested in using. Let's build up Charmander. Hopefully we don't regret this. I'm just expecting that Ponyta will be paralyzed enough that I'd be annoyed by it. Because this game tends to do that. But I'll get paralyzed 3 or 4 turns in a row, so before I'm able to attack, she'll have completely destroyed my Ponyta. And I would have wasted an energy or 2. So I'm preempting that by not attaching any energy to my Ponyta, so that when you do eventually screw me out of not being able to attack by getting 3 paralysis in a row, I will actually have something ready. And I guess I could play this for whatever reason. And I'll hang on to the Gust of Wind for when it's actually useful. So let's see that 3rd paralysis in a row. This is why I didn't attach! Those of you who were watching this, you were saying, why aren't you attaching energy to Ponyta? You can attack that thing and knock it out in 1 turn. This happens to me so often, I prepare for it. This game loves to mess with you. So I'm nipping it in the bud. Pun intended. Do I want to... let me hang on to that until I have a better idea what to do with it. Have you built up anything else yet? No? Good. Let's start wiping through this deck with Slash. We could do 100 damage with Flamethrower, but there's no reason for us to discard a Fire Energy unless we have to. Now there's the Executor I was afraid of. That thing can get annoying very, very quickly. Actually, you know what? Now, its attack, Big Explosion, there's no... well, there is a limit to how much you can do. It's based on the number of energy cards you have attached to it. I do not want to deal with that thing, but I also don't want to deal with the paralysis from this Oddish, so I guess I'll make it a priority to knock this thing out. Big Explosion is really annoying to deal with if you have a lot of energy on that thing, because it does damage for every coin flip you get, and you can flip your coin as many times as you have energy cards. So if you have a lot of energy, that's going to get annoying really quick. I just prefer to knock it out quickly, but that's just me. But all of the card decks that we've been using so far have been playing around with different ways to attack, status ailments. Fire decks are generally, at least in the first generation, high damage output. Just get the game done as fast as possible. And hyper-offensive is how I like to play. And that does it for the Grass Club. I almost called it a gym again. Been doing that a lot. But it's an easy mistake to make. I'm also not sure if I have this kind of Ditto yet either. But that was the Grass deck. Or the Grass Club. And this has been UniversalGiant. See you guys next time.